Hari Om. Starting with invocation, let us chant from verses 6 to 10 of Atma Bodha. Pratah smarami hridi samspuradatma tattvam Sache sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yasvapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sankha Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha Svakale satyabhati Prabodhe satya sadbhave Tavas satyam jagadbhati Shuktika rajatam yatha Yavanna jnayate brahma Sarvadhishthanamadvayam Upadane khiladhare Jaganti parameshware Sadgastithilayan yanti Buddhani vavarini Sachidatmanyanusyute Nitye Vishnau prakalpitaha Vyaktayo vividha sarvaha Hatake kataka divat Yatha kasho rishikeshaha Nanopadhigatho vibhuhu Tadbhedat bhinnavad bhati Tannashe kevalo bhave
Pratasmarami hridi samspuradatmatattvam Sachit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamaveti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha Is my audio okay? I was just having some issues yesterday and I just fixed it. It's okay?
Perfect, sir.
Yeah, okay. Verse number 6. Atma Bodha. Verse number 6 reads, Samsara swapna tulyo hi raga dveshadi sankulaha Svakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. Samsara swapna tulyo hi raga dveshadi sankulaha Svakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. The waking state, full of attachment, aversion, etc., is verily like a dream. As long as it exists, it appears to be real. But it becomes unreal when one is enlightened. Verse number 6. the second topic starts. Up to verse number 5, there was a thought flow. From this verse onwards, there is a different thought flow. The thought flow from this verse up to verse number 15 is how material equipments superimpose. This is the topic here. How material equipments superimpose world on Brahman. Till now we have covered knowledge of self alone liberates. We have covered up to verse number 5. He explained how knowledge alone liberates. How knowledge alone liberates is because ignorance is the cause. Ignorance is the cause and knowledge liberates. Having established that, he goes into a detailed analysis from now on. The analysis from now on is the reason for ignorance. What is it that causes? What is it that causes ignorance? What is it that causes ignorance? And what are all the ways in which this ignorance expresses? This is material equipments superimpose world on Brahman. Having said ignorance is the cause, now he is talking about the cause for ignorance. Now, very important verse this one is, because some basic formulas, some basic tools for analysis is given in this verse. Some of the words that you have to analyze in this verse is this. Samsara swapna tulyaha. Swapna means dream. This samsara is like a dream. And what is that state like? Raga, Dvesha, Adi, Sankulaha. Raga, Dvesha, Adi, Sankulaha. Raga, Dvesha, Adi, Sankulaha means, I'll explain all this once we go into the first the important words, important things that this, because of the shift of the topic, some important words you need to know. Raga, Dvesha, Adi, Sankulaha. Adi means etc. Full of attachment, aversion, etc. Is this samsara? This samsara is like swapna. That swapna has Raga, Dvesha, Adi, Sankulaha. Okay. Swakale Satyavad Bhati. Sakale Satyavad Bhati. This is the classic. This is the classic. It appears as long as it exists. Swakale Satyavad Bhati means it exists as long as it exists, it appears to be real. Prabodhe Sat Asat Bhavet. The moment you gain Prabodha, which is enlightenment, which is knowledge, which is wisdom, what happens? You clearly understand. What is that you clearly understand? Sat and Asat. You clearly understand the Sat and Asat. Now, the example in this verse is the dream. Like the dream. First word. Example is like the dream. This samsara, he starts with that. All along saying knowledge alone liberates. Ignorance is the cause. You don't encounter ignorance directly. You encounter samsara. So when you encounter samsara, you understand ignorance. So you don't directly see, there is no, just like there is eyes, ears, nose, mouth, taste, touch and all that. There is no separate entity called, there is no, you don't encounter ignorance like that. Wherever you encounter samsara, it is. So the experience of samsara is the proof of existence of ignorance. This is something very, very important to know. The experiencing samsara is the proof of existence of ignorance. If you can directly understand ignorance, it is all right. But then you don't encounter it directly. You encounter it through the samsara only. And what is the nature of the samsara? Raga, dvesha, adi. Raga, dvesha, example, etc. Raga, dvesha, adi, sankulaha. Raga, dvesha, adi, sankulaha means full of attachment. Full of raga, dvesha. To put it very simply, this word samsara, this word ajnanam is not at all needed if only the world is like how the poets write. If only the world is like how the poets write. If only the world is like how we all dream. If only world is like that, we don't need to write, we don't have to use the word samsara at all. Beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset, butterflies are flying, beautiful COVID-19, you can't say that, no. Extraordinary COVID-19, you can't say that. Therefore, on the one side, there is this world which we dream about, which is the opposite of samsara. What is it? There is a view, we should not be pessimistic in life. In the Atma Bodha, Shankaracharya belongs to the pessimistic category of human beings. We all should be positive, optimistic, and we see only the good things of life. What is the good things of life? Sir, from your balcony, can't you see the beautiful day, fresh day? Yeah. The person who wakes up at 9 o'clock talks about the fresh day. Yeah. Freshness of the day is at 3:30 in the morning. Freshness of the day is at 4 o'clock in the morning. The person who wakes up at 9 o'clock in the morning writes the poetry. The fellow who is fully drunk says, how good is this world? Yeah. There is the Landa Ajnanam. He's going to describe this. He's going to talk about in this. So he says, why are you being very pessimistic? Why is Shankaracharya saying samsara swapna raga dvesha adi sankulaha? Sir, this world is not like how Shankaracharya says. Raga dvesha adi sankulaha lang kadayad. It is not full of aversion. It is not full of attachment and aversion like that. It is beautiful. It is wonderful. It is extraordinary. It is divine. All these words are so nice to hear, so good to talk about to another person. If you are giving a motivational talk to somebody, when you go through a sorrow, a suffering, all this doesn't come to your rescue. All this doesn't come. All this is very good to talk to another person only, but it doesn't seem to help that person. Why? Because you are not seeing the samsara in the way it is. You are not seeing the samsara in the way it is. What is seeing samsara in the way it is? Seeing samsara in the way it is what he says it very clearly. Raga dvesha adi sankulaha. Solution: Prabodhe sat asat bhavet. The moment you gain this knowledge, it appears to be real, but it becomes unreal when one is enlightened. These two words, the sat and asat, you can never get tired. Listening to it, you may get tired. They keep coming to these two words only. Listening to it, you may get tired. Say something else. You want to hear something else. And these maybe Bhagavad Gita, maybe Upanishads, maybe Atma Bodha, any textbook you go, the way in which this word, the Sat and Asat, is brought about to explain the reality of life. You can't escape it. Either you get frustrated and say, enough of classes. Something so wonderful, they will start like that, and then 10th minute, the Sat and Asat and go to their whole class, they will continue like that only. Our already is known. So only escapism is what? Take a break from the classes. Yeah. And Venkatachalam wants to come for the extra classes also. Yeah. Vango, Venkatachalam, please come. The extra. I am wondering, this itself is too much. Why would anybody wants to go for the extra also? Prabodhe Sat Asat Bhavet. This is the verse. This is how it starts from. This is how it starts. What is that starting? How material equipments superimpose world upon Brahman. This word superimposition. This word superimposition you should not forget. For it is the philosophy is revolving around this word. Superimposition. Now, what does this mean? Samsara we saw, full of raga and dvesha. That is samsara full of raga, dvesha and patachi. That is that we have seen it any number of times. So we are not going into that. What is the cause for ignorance? You can call it as ignorance. Here the word ajnanam, the word mithya, the word maya, the word avidya, all means the same. All means the same. Somebody goes so technical. People, the Orthodox, in the Orthodox commentaries, they go so technical and they call it as Moola Vidya also, fundamental ignorance. All it means is ignorance is causing it, and what caused ignorance is the analysis. What caused ignorance is the analysis. Samsara is because of ignorance. Moksha is liberation from this ajnanam. This is clear. Now the analysis is what caused ignorance. What caused ignorance? You have to remember this analysis. It is called apprehension, non-apprehension, misapprehension. This non-apprehension and misapprehension in Sanskrit, it's called avarna and vikshepa. I'm just giving the parallel Sanskrit word, that's all. Avarna and vikshepa, it's called. In English, it is called non-apprehension and misapprehension. The non-apprehension is the stage number 1. Misapprehension is stage number 2. Apprehension, there is no problem. Non-apprehension and misapprehension. For example, that is why you have to give an example to do this. And the standard example that we give is, to make this concept clear, the standard example is Rajju Sarpa, rope and snake. The rope and the snake. In this rope and snake, rope is there. Rope is there. That is existence, apprehension. You see the rope as the rope, no samsara, no problem, no nothing. Now, you don't see the rope as the rope. You don't see the rope as the rope, and then you see the snake. And this misapprehension, non-apprehending the rope as the rope, causes the misapprehension of the snake. Again, the non-apprehension, the non-understanding of the rope as the rope creates the misapprehension of the snake. The moment misapprehension happens, the snake becomes real. The moment the misapprehension happens, now Vedanta is breaking it up step by step. In real experience, you don't see it step by step. All happens in a split second. It happens so fast that you don't know the steps. So what these great masters have done, they are breaking it up. Just as in the Science magazine, it's there in the Vedanta treatise, the quote. The Science magazine 1985, the Science magazine says, to register a site, millions of calculations is happening. And all these millions of calculations happens in a split second. Now, when they break it up and say it, we understand. Till they break it up, we don't know that so much of calculations is happening before you register a site. For example, registering the site. 10 million calculations. 10 million calculations for what? இப்போ என்னாச்சு? சார் திடீர்னு காண போயிட்டீங்க? You have come. 10 million calculations has happened to register that I am sitting in front of you. Now, can you ever imagine that? Can you even conceive of it? Somebody has gone into so much of details, broke it up, and they told us. In the same way, this apprehension, non-apprehension, misapprehension, and the misapprehension becomes real. Now, when you do not apprehend the rope as a rope, you misapprehend it to be you misunderstand it to be a snake, and that snake becomes, real. Extraordinary example that he is giving in the verse is the dream example. When you don't realize that you are the waker, the non-understanding of the waker creates the misunderstanding of the dreamer. And the moment you get into the dream becomes real. And how long it is real? That's where he gives it. He doesn't want you to do guesswork. He gives the answer very clearly. He says, Sakale Swakale Satyavat Bhati. As long as you are dreaming, the dream will be real. Swakale Satyavat Bhati. As long as you are dreaming, it would be real. How long does the snake appears to be real? Actually, you can't say appearing to be real. For that person, snake is real. How long does the reality of the snake exist? The reality of the snake exists as long as you are ignorant. The longevity of the samsara. How long the samsara will last, sir? Ove matindrede. How long the samsara will last? How long it will be there? As long as the ignorance remains, samsara will last. Just as long as the ignorance remains, the snake continues to exist. Similarly, samsara will exist as long as the ignorance is there. And what is the ignorance? Ignorance is not understanding the real as real. When you do not understand the real as real, instantly you will replace it with unreal. And the moment you replace it with unreal, the unreal becomes real. The moment you replace it, the unreal becomes real. Avladhan. And when you are seeing the unreal, it is so real to you. How can you even doubt that it could be? How can you even doubt that it could be unreal? Here comes the challenge. Here comes the knowledge. Here comes the knowledge, and knowledge is that which is telling you that it is knowledge, that it is telling you that it is unreal. In the beginning stages, you have no choice but to accept it. Just as to register a site, 10 million calculations happening. Modella 10 million without making the to put the right number of zeros. Yeah. To put the right number of zeros itself is very difficult in 10 million. And then to understand that that much of calculation is happening, you take it on the authority of the subject. You take it on the authority of the subject and go through the process that the subject asks you to go through. You would also understand one day that, yeah, correct. Actually, 10 million is happening. Today, to say 10 million calculations is happening, I understand, sir, is completely superstitious only. Why? Because you don't know. Light travels at the speed of whatever speed they say, 1.76 thousand lakh and 76,000 kilometers per second. I don't know, whatever that speed is. You have not actually calculated, you have not measured it, but you have to take it on the authority of the subject first. Similarly, when they say the samsara is real as long as it exists, you take it on the authority, and then they give lot of reason and analysis. What is the reason and analysis? The reason and analysis is, number one, do you have experience of the dream? Sir, fresh so we have lot of Sangalum get difficult, but right now we are very fresh because we all had lot of dreams and we woke up. Now, was the dream real or is the dream unreal? While you are dreaming, it is real. Having woken up, it is unreal. See, this is very important to understand. Having woken up, it is unreal. You don't say, having woken up, you have come out of the dream, but the dream world is existing somewhere. Are you able to follow? When you wake up from the dream, what happens to the entire dream phenomena? The entire dream phenomena falls back. It is not that only you have woken up and the dream world is existing and the dream world is existing somewhere. If you are still thinking like that now, you have not woken up from, you have not woken up, you are still dreaming. Similarly, as long as the waking world full of attachment, aversion, etc. is verily like a dream, as long as it exists, it appears to be real, but it becomes unreal when one is enlightened. The apprehension of the rope, if it happens, there is no problem. When you do not apprehend the rope as the rope, that is called non-apprehension. The non-apprehension of the rope leads to the misunderstanding of it being a snake. The moment you see the snake, you are affected by the snake. You are disturbed by the snake, you are affected by the snake. How do you know that you are disturbed and affected by the snake? You know that you are disturbed by the snake, you know that you are affected by the snake when you come and ask how to handle that snake, how to deal with that snake. Shankaracharya will turn back and ask, which snake? Which snake? You want to deal the snake that is non-existing? You want to handle the snake that which is not there? You will say, this person doesn't know the solution. Since he doesn't know the solution, he is talking like this. Let us go to a person who knows what the solution is. What is the solution? You go to another person and that person will give you a perfect solution. What is the solution? Romba kitta po. Don't go near that snake. Na, wow, correct. That person knows the right answer. Why? Because he is agreeing with you that there is a, are you able to follow? He is agreeing with you that there is a snake. Having agreed that there is the snake, he is giving you a solution, there is a fundamental connect between the two. What is the fundamental connect between the two? You are also seeing a snake which is not there. That person is also seeing the snake which is not there, and he is giving a solution. You will say, Vedanta classல அவங்களுக்கு கரெக்டா புரிய மாட்டேன்றது நம்ம ப்ராப்ளம் என்னன்னு. Yeah, they talk very well and all that, but they really don't understand our problem. அவங்க தான், they only understand the problem very well. Why? Because they agree with you. Whoever is in agreement with you, you will say he is. Have you ever noticed it? Whoever agrees with you, you will say he is. Right. Have you ever observed it? When one child has a problem, it will go to another child for solution. When one child has a problem, it will go to another child only. That is why we say, that is why the child says, I discussed it with my friends. And who is the friend of the child? Who is the friend of the child? Another child only. That is why when your child says, I had a problem and I discussed it with my friends, you feel like giving one tight slap to your child and two tight slaps to the child who advised this child. Atma Bodha, Shankaracharya, Vedanta takes a completely different stance. They say, first of all, I am saying, this is, I am not saying, when I say I am saying, don't take it as I am saying. Vedanta is saying, there is no snake. Which obviously you will not be able to understand it. And then I will give you methodology to deal with the non-existing snake. Why I am giving you methodology to deal with the non-existing snake? Because you are ignorant, and how much ever methodology is given to deal with the non-existing snake, the snake will come back to haunt you, hurt you. Therefore, the permanent solution is gain. The permanent solution is gain knowledge. The permanent solution is gain knowledge. Once you gain the knowledge, what happens? It is clear. What is clear? What you saw as a snake is nothing but the rope. What you saw as the snake is only the rope. Even when you are seeing the snake, even when you are experiencing the snake, there are people who get bitten by the snake, no? Bitten by the rope snake, not the real snake. Bitten by the rope snake, and they say poison, 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 and they actually feel poison rising also. Now, what is that the cause for ignorance? What is it that caused ignorance? In this example, what is it that caused the ignorance? The conducive environment. What is the conducive environment? The conducive environment called partial light or twilight. The boy goes into the room. If it is pitch darkness, where he doesn't see anything, he will not see anything. Again, if the room is brightly lit, again he doesn't see anything. Are you able to follow? Complete darkness also he would not see anything. If it is lit brightly also, he would see the rope as a rope, and there is no problem at all. The problem is the partial light. Partial light na enna artham? Partial light means, Tamil la solnumna, partial light means பாதி புரிஞ்சிடுது சார் எனக்கு. This is partial light. Partial light means பாதி புரிஞ்சிடுது எனக்கு. Partial marriage means marriage is fixed, sir. How? What do you mean marriage is fixed? Na yes solita, no girl yes solayachina full marriage is fixed. Yeah, I have said yes to the marriage. Girl yes solayachina full marriage. Illana partial. Now, what is it that caused it? Are you able to follow? What is it that caused it? Partial light. This partial light is what is called ignorance. This partial light is that avidya. That's why Vedanta says gain the complete knowledge. Partial knowledge would always make the unreal real. And what is it that is making sure that this partial knowledge happens? In the later on verses, he is going to talk about the 5 elements, the gross, subtle and causal bodies, the gross, subtle and causal bodies, the 5 elements, and then he's going to talk about the panchakoshas and all that. Now, when all this is that which is covered, that which is layered by ignorance, when it sees it, what happens? Not seeing the rope as the rope, it misunderstands it to be a snake. See, partial knowledge, this is where Maya comes in. This is where Maya comes in. See, partial knowledge means you should have a doubt, no? In partial knowledge means you should have a doubt, no? In partial knowledge, you will never have. In partial knowledge, you will never have a doubt. Partial knowledge, logically speaking, in partial knowledge, you should always have a doubt, isn't it? I saw something there, light seriya illama irundadunala, because of light not being correct, I saw something. What is it? That question will not come. Are you able to follow? That question will not come. In partial light, you will see something, and that seeing becomes clear, real to you. What are all the equipments that you have that makes the unreal real. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana. We are going to see all that in this. I'm just waiting for those verses to come to start that also. Based on all these things, based on these factors, the unreal seems to be real. First is how you miss the real and get the unreal. Step number 1. Step number 2 is how long does this last? How long will this last? How long will this last? When the Guru drags you to that room and lights it up and shows you clearly and says, now what do you see? Now what do you see? The boy will sheepishly smile. Yeah, sheepishly smiling, na? Tamil la? Yeah, Tamil எப்படி சொல்றது அது? அசடு வடியறதுன்றது அது இல்லையா? ஓ இத போய் இல்லையா அசடு கரெக்ட். யார் அது? அசத்து இல்ல அசடு அது. அசட்டு சிரிப்பு அது. இத போய் ஓ what a fool I am. This is moksha. This is moksha. Recognizing the foolishness is moksha, liberation. The example that he gives is far more closer to your everyday experience. What is the experience? You have a nightmare. You have a nightmare and you scream and get up and sit. The child asking you, what happened? You don't want to admit to the child that you had a nightmare. No, you will say, nothing, I just want a glass of water. Why? Because you have gained the knowledge and you have understood it as your screaming, your fear, all that has no validity at all. All that has no reality at all to it. And yet it looks real. Why? Because that is the nature of avidya. It appears real as long as it exists. It appears real. Beautiful analysis. It appears real as long as it exists. If you continue to see the snake for 10 years, the snake will exist for 10 years. If you continue to see the snake for 100 janmas, the snake will exist for 100 janma. Yuga Yugama, if you are seeing the snake, na? Chatur Yugam, yeah. Yuga after Yuga. The Chatur Yuga goes. Keeps coming back. But the ignorance, but it is so long, so deep, no sir. It is because you have not yet gained the knowledge. And the moment you gain this knowledge, this gaining knowledge is what is called as moksha, liberation. And the moment you gain this knowledge, what happens? The snake is understood as the non-existing one, and then instantaneously you apprehend the rope. Now I read the verse again. It becomes easy. Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha swakale satyavad bhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. This samsara, full of attachment, aversion, etc., is verily like a dream. Solution. Your raga dvesha. When he talks about raga dvesha, the consequences of raga dvesha also you have to understand it. If raga dvesha is like a dream, the consequent suffering is also a dream only. Why they don't say it as not existing at all is, for you it is, for us it will be difficult to digest it. For us it would be difficult to digest this. What is the difficulty in digesting? The difficulty in digesting it, that which is so real, to call it as temporary is difficult. That which is so real, to call it as temporary, to accept it as temporary, makes you a fool in front of your own self. That's why anybody who agrees it as real and intense, you will agree to that person. And yet, the truth of life is, if only you see, carefully follow now, is the knowledge. You can understand it is temporary if only you know what is the right instrument through which the world has to be seen. What is the right instrument through which the world has to be seen? What is the right instrument through which all your experience has to be understood? Only if you use the right instrument, you would be able to see it as temporary. Adukku, are you able to follow till now? It means you need to know what is that right instrument, and you need to sharpen that instrument. You need to know what that instrument is, and you need to make it available. You need to sharpen it. What is that instrument called? What is that instrument called? Buddhi. Suresh, correct. Adha illa. What is that instrument called? Yeah. அது என்ன சொல்லணும்? அத புத்தி சொல்லக்கூடாது, புத்தி அப்படி சொல்லணும். இல்லையா? இல்லையா? புத்தினா ஏதோ அங்க இருக்குன்னு அர்த்தம், அங்க இருந்தாதான் பிரச்சனை இல்லையே. What you should say? What is that instrument? Buddhi. At least we are better off. Why? Because at least we have known what is that instrument. To that extent, we have solved the problem. We can congratulate ourselves, sir. To that extent, we can congratulate ourselves, because to that extent, we have known what is the instrument. And that instrument, to be sharpened, the right material has to be given. Science, maths, history, geography, all temporary, cannot be understood. That buddhi cannot be, that buddhi by learning maths, science, geography, history, it will not know. That buddhi sharpened by the taking the help of this Vedantic knowledge would be able to perceive it. That is why he goes on saying, Swamiji goes on saying, this Vedantic knowledge is that which sharpens the intellect. Sharpening of the intellect means what? You would be able to see it as it is. You would be able to see it as it is. Now, what is seeing the world as it is? Seeing the world as it is means it is. Seeing the world as it is means it is temporary. And temporary, now we always want to know how temporary it is. Yeah. Science wants to use the method of carbon dating and try to understand how the time factor for everybody wanting to know this temporary, the beginning and the end of this temporary is something that is interesting to all intellect. In the external way, you can never know it. By taking the help of the Vedantic knowledge, you would understand it rightly. Are you able to follow? By gaining this knowledge, you would be able to understand it rightly. What is understanding it rightly now? It is temporary. Are you okay till now? Now comes the last step. The fact that there is something called temporary means at the core something has to be permanent. If something is moving, changing, temporary means at the core there has to be something permanent. What is it at the core? One set of philosophy says the 5 elements are the core. The Panchabhutas are the core. Another set will say the Anu, the atom is at the core. That is the fundamental, and all this has come out of that. Vedanta goes deeper one step and says even that existence of that also is temporary, and that also proves that something more permanent is at the core. The existence of the ornaments prove that there is the gold. The existence of the pot with the name and form proves that there is the nameless, formless clay. That nameless, formless clay gave rise to a temporary name and form pot, and it merges back into that nameless, formless entity. So, the existence of the rope, now the existence of the rope is that which caused the snake. Supposing if there was no rope at all, the snake itself wouldn't have come. Therefore, the temporary snake is supported by the permanent rope. Now, the senses, the world, all that gives you the knowledge about the temporary, and they make the temporary appear to be permanent. Through the buddhi you are supposed to understand it. Please understand, this senses are not designed to perceive it. It is the intellect that can understand it. Senses are not designed to see the changes. Senses can see something that is, senses has to give it a notion that it is static. Then only you can make some sense out of it. When you see it as static, permanent, through the buddhi, you understand it as temporary. Are you able to follow? Now, you don't come and ask how to see that, sir. You can't see it. For the senses are not designed that way. Senses are not designed to see that. I have said this any number of times. Don't use the wrong instrument to ask. Don't use the wrong instrument to see. Through the buddhi, you can understand it as temporary. The moment you understand it as temporary, then comes the question. This temporary is superimposed upon something that is permanent. Iduvaraikkum buddhi is very important. For it is that buddhi that can understand that it is superimposed. So, the last thing is the proof of the temporary. The fact that you see the temporary is there is something that is at the core. The wide screen can show you the movies of multicolors. Yeah, the wide screen, colorless. If the screen itself is of pink color, you will see only partial. So something at the core is unchanging. Elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, he uses beautiful words like he take the words from the Upanishads and all that. They quote the words that they use in the Bhagavad Gita is Kutastha, Adhishtanam. These are the words they use to refer to the permanent. Kutastha, Adhishtanam. All these are the words that is used to refer to the permanent. Before we go into the discussion of the permanent, first thing is temporary has to be understood as temporary. That is the biggest challenge. Once you understand the temporary as temporary, automatically the question will come to you naturally. Then what is permanent? What is permanent? Academically we may ask. Yeah. 45 minutes torturing you with these words and analysis. Now, out of frustration, you will ask, what is permanent? This is more of an academic inquiry. Why? Because 9-10 varaikum class extend banna, the restlessness will start. Why? Because all that is dismissed as asat starts coming back as sat. Therefore, step number 1 is to understand the unreal as real. Sorry, to understand the unreal as unreal. Ignorance is misunderstanding the unreal to be real. Ignorance is misunderstanding the unreal to be real. Knowledge is understanding the real as real. To put it in another way, when you see the one, you recognize the two. When you see the one, you recognize the two. When you see the bulb glowing, you see the visible bulb and the invisible. What you are seeing is the bulb only. What do you understand? What is it that you understand? There are two. What are the two? The visible bulb is supported by the electricity. So you see the one, but you understand the two. Are you able to follow? The various bulbs, there is a small bulb, there is a medium bulb, there is a huge bulb, various bulbs. Not only various bulb, there is the fan, there is the cooler, there is the heater. So bulb, cooler, heater, fan, different. And then in the fan itself, there is a small fan, big fan, medium fan. In the bulb itself, there is a small bulb, medium bulb, big bulb. Heater itself, yeah, AC, they will ask, no, 1 ratanna, 2 ratanna, no. Even there, all this. So, as you see these varieties of Nama Rupa, which is the one, which is the very many, you understand something that is Sutre Manigana Iva, something that is common in everything. What is it that is common in everything? The electricity. That electricity, that enlivening, all these. Now, when you see these various gadgets of various shapes and sizes, You can get carried away by that, or you can understand them rightly. What is understanding them rightly? There is an enlivening factor behind it. The moment you recognize that there is an enlivening factor behind it, you have taken a very giant step. Your evolution, your spiritual evolution has taken a very good stride, a very good step. Till that recognition of the supporting factor. So, what do you understand now? The snake is dependent upon the rope. The rope is not dependent upon the snake. So, the world has a dependent reality. Rope is independent. The snake is dependent. The rope is independent. Ipo, and the I, when you say this I, you can say, I am the bulb enlivened by electricity, or you can say, I am the electricity enlivening the bulb. Atma Bodhana idda. The I, with what you relate this I, with what you identify the I with, you can say, I am the bulb enlivened by electricity. Or you can say, I am the electricity enlivening the bulb. ரெண்டும் புரியலன்னா இந்த எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டின்றதெல்லாம் எதுவுமே கிடையாது சார். பல்ப் இஸ் இண்டிபெண்டன்ட் பை இட் செல்ஃப். அவ்வளவுதான். சும்மா நீங்களா போட்டு yes, because you couldn't do anything else. You went and studied something, and why are you coming and torturing us with what you have studied? Bulb is independent, full stop. Don't worry about electricity, supporting factor, dependent reality. Idella we are not discussing at all. In the formulas Allah, you need to remember, because based on these formulas only, we are going to study verses 6 to 15. Material equipments superimpose world upon material equipments superimpose world upon Brahman. When you see the one, you understand the two, and with what you identify with is what is called as knowledge or ignorance. You see the one, recognize the two, and then with what you identify is this is what is very important. Now, when you see the one, there is two. Who's teaching you that there is two? You are only seeing the one. Who is teaching you that there is two? The eyes doesn't teach electricity. Yeah, the electrical engineer has to come and so that there is the knowledge that comes and teaches you that different, there is something more than what you see. There is something more than what you see. So you see the one through the buddhi, taking the help of the knowledge, you understand the two, and then the same knowledge says, you can say, I am the bulb only. I am the bulb only. The electricity indradella ungaloda imagination, sir. There is no such thing like that, na? Atheist. Atheist. The bulb gilbella unnum kediyadu. Summa neengala potu bulb na kaamingala kannukku na, how can you show it? Show me the bacterium. If the fellow comes and show me virus. Now microscope kulla vaana, that fellow will say no. Show me now, then I will come to microscope. Now how is it possible? So that person is called atheist. I am the bulb enlivened by electricity. அப்படின்னா கூட much better. Why? Because at least the enlivening factor is recognized. Vedanta, Atmabodha, Shankaracharya, all these great masters goes one step deeper and say, I am the bulb enlivened by electricity. Nu solradhu kuda ignorance. You should say, I am the electricity enlivening the bulb, and I have nothing to do with, the bulb. I am that electricity. And that electricity na shock adikman, you should not ask. Yeah. I am that electricity. I have nothing to do with the nama rupa. I have nothing to do with the various nama, various rupa. I have nothing to do with all that. For I am that electricity. The person who can say this is what is known as Aham Brahma Asmi. That's the Mahavakya. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi. So first important step is when you see the one to recognize the two. That's very important. What is this? Ido kachi symbol madiri irukide sir, don't say. Yeah, I have nothing to do with any. What is this? Camera andradhanaala ipdi thooki kaata vendirukku. Yeah. Hand, fingers, nails. Paravalle innu konja nails neat ah irukku. Nails. You will go deeper and deeper and deeper into the description of the hand. That which is enabling you to see the hand, you will not say. That which is enabling you to see the hand is the two. What is it? Light plus hand. Ipo kai pochina light pola. Light is still there. Are you able to follow? So that is what, when we say, when you see the one, you should understand the two. Now what does it mean? இதெல்லாம் தான் இந்த உபநிஷதி commentaries-la they give all this explanation. Atmabodhale நம்ம எல்லாத்தையும் we are including everything in this Atmabodha itself. When you see the hand, you go into the detailed analysis of the hand. Means your attention is still on the one only. You have not yet seen the two. Now what is seeing the two? You see the hand and you see the light that enables you to see the hand, and with that enabling light only you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the analysis of the hand, only because howsoever deep you go, there is the light that is enabling you to see it, and that light is what is called as Brahman, the self, the God, the I. You can say, I am the light that enlivens the hand. Yeah. Seeing the one and recognizing the two, this is what it is. Seeing the one and recognizing the two. And that two is completely different and independent of this one. Then only there is two. The second one is not a part of this. Light is not part of the hand. Light is separate, independent of the hand. How would you say that? Even when the hand goes, light is still there. Or it is because of the light which is already there, when I bring the hand, you are able to see the hand. Yeah, கொஞ்சம் காம்ப்ளிகேட்டடா இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குதா தெரியல, எனக்கு என்ன ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா இருக்குது. Yeah, to me it is looking very so simple and obvious. How, yeah, why it is difficult? அப்படியே எல்லாரும் பார்க்கறத பார்த்தா looks like very complicated. Yeah, very So when you see the second is completely independent of this one, and the second is not a subset part of this one. The second is not a subset. The second is not part of the one. The second is independent and different of that one, and it is the second that makes the one visible. Now, so up till this we have become wise. What is the wisdom? We are seeing the one and recognizing the two. It is an equation. It is an equation. Beautiful analysis, that equation. When you see the one, you recognize the two, and then that I, where do you position the I? Where do you place the I? Where do you place the I? Where do you position the I with? So you can say, I am the bulb enlivened by electricity. I am the wave supported by the ocean. You can say that. Or you can say, I am the ocean. Waves come out of me, they exist and they come back to me. Waves come out of me, they exist in me. Yeah, when they come out of me, they come out of me, exist in me and dissolve back into me. So when they come out of me, exist in me and dissolve back into me means right through, what is there? There is only one. That is ocean, the water. That's the Vedic mantra. Akashat patitantoyam yada gacchati sagaram. Wherever there is water, all means only one. It all means only one. Because of the various nama rupa, you see it as, because of the various nama rupa, you are seeing it as distinct and different from one another. This nama rupa, carefully follow. We are not saying this nama rupa is imaginary. This nama rupa is temporary. We are not saying this nama rupa is imaginary. This nama rupa is temporary. Why do you have to identify with that which is temporary and suffer when there is the permanent with which you can identify? This is the question that they ask us. You will have to explain it. They say, now that you have this choice, why don't you identify with the permanent and understand the temporary as temporary. This is called jnanam. This is called knowledge. This is called jnanam. This is called knowledge. That is why the Upanishad says the light is not a product of the hand. Light is not a subset of the hand. Light is different from the hand. Consciousness is not a product of matter. Consciousness is not the subset of matter. Consciousness is that which enlivens the matter. Now you can identify with the matter or you can identify with the consciousness. When you identify with the matter, you will say, I am bulb. When you identify with the consciousness, you will say, you can say, Aham Brahmasmi. You can say, I am consciousness, or you can say, I am God. Any word you can use. For all these are synonyms. All these are synonyms. Material layers superimpose What is that? Carried away by the bulb because you are seeing it through the, you are seeing it through the right instrument. The world, you are seeing it through the right instrument called the senses. But buddhi lacking in knowledge understands, comes to a wrong conclusion that it is permanent. The eyes are perceived through, the world is perceived through the eyes. And the conclusion that you have come to based on this perception that it is permanent is, that it is real, that it is permanent is wrong. For the senses see it as real, the senses cannot see it as temporary. It is the buddhi that understands it as temporary. See, even though we say all are moving, the whole planet is moving. But then I sit in one place, unless I have my blood pressure shot up and talasuthinaluriya, I don't see anything. I don't see anything moving. No, everything appears to be statics, fixed. Ella move ainde irukna apra eppadi na building katradhu? Then how can I put up a building? Then how can I put up anything? Sunrise, sunset. Even though we have studied that sun doesn't rise, sun doesn't set, it is the earth that is rotating, makes it appear as though the sunrise and the sunset. Still we use the word sunrise and sunset. So when we use the word sunrise and sunset, the buddhi understands that it is used for a limited purpose. That which is used for a limited purpose, don't give it a permanent status. Don't give it a reality. That's all Vedanta is all. It has a utility, but the mistake is when you give it a permanency. So what you should do? Do not do that. Why so much of analysis I did is to say, and the temporary here, look at the words he uses. So beautiful is the word that he used. Swakale satyavat bhati. Swakale satyavat bhati. He is not saying you are imagining. He is saying you have wrongly understood. And the difference, he is not saying you are imagining. He is saying you have wrongly understood. That is, there is a world of difference between the two, between imagination and seeing it wrongly. What is seeing it wrongly? As long as it exists, it appears to be real, but it becomes unreal when one is enlightened. That's where knowledge instantly clears. For generations, people believed that earth is the center and sun is that which is revolving around the earth. The knowledge came and straight away that got removed, but still we use the word sunset and sunrise. Though it is, still we continue to use the word sunset and sunrise. Why? Because for vyavahara, for worldly purposes, you have to use it, but deep down you understand it as not true. But then you can't ask, if it is not true, why not we say earth rise and earth set? Why not we say that? Now it gets that much confused and complicated. Therefore, you say something, they're not asking you to lie. You see it and you understand it differently. That's where I gave this equation. When you see the hand, you see the object bathed in light and the light is not seen. You see the Nama Rupa enlivened by consciousness, and the consciousness is not seen. When the object goes away, light doesn't go away. Light still exists. Anything that comes in, it enlivens. Swakale Satyavad Bhati Prabodhe Satya Sadbhaved. The Sat and Asat word, I didn't go into that much detail. I used another method of analysis but the conclusion is one and the same. And I really didn't go into the detail of samsara, the samsara, which is the nature of raga, dvesha, adi, sankulaha. I didn't go into that detailed description about that also, because that we have seen any number of times. Or every other week we keep seeing this. Atma Bodhala, I am not going into that kind of analysis a lot. I am consciously spending a lot of time on the analytical portion of the knowledge, where we don't get a lot of chance to discuss it in other textbooks. Yeah. With this, I conclude the verse number 6, and I take up. There are some clarifications which I take up. Okay. First one, Bhaskar. Why do humans come to this planet covered with ignorance? Is there a purpose to even the ignorance of our existence, like working out our karma? Then ignorance is required to work out our emancipation, right? Bhaskar Shastri. Irkela? Yeah, Irkar Bhaskar Shastri. Why do humans come to this planet covered with ignorance? In the planet length, they have come here as though they were existing somewhere, and they came into this planet, and then they are going to go back to that planet again. What it means is this. We are not working from the standpoint of, we always, in analysis, we always work backwards and we are going to the source. We don't discuss from the source to where we are now. For that process of analysis is very difficult. We can see this and we can work our way backwards. Like we register a site, the site comes first, and then we go back and say 10 million calculations. We don't say 10 million calculations, therefore seeing. Are you able to follow? You can't. So the analysis is always working backwards. You can't work forwards. You have to work backwards only. Why? Because knowledge moves from known to the unknown. Pratyaksha is what is known, and from this pratyaksha, what is known, we move backwards and we go into the unknown. Therefore, to ask, is there a purpose to even, is there a purpose for the ignorance to exist? Ignorance is the purpose. Ignorance has no purpose. It has no purpose. If ignorance has a purpose, then it is not ignorance. Knowledge is there already. Purpose means there is a knowledge that is already known. Are you able to follow? The moment you say it has a purpose, then there is no such thing called ignorance at all. Therefore, ignorance is there. There is no purpose and all for it. Seriya? Bhaskar.
So the follow-up question is then, why is this there? I mean, I understand it. We need liberation and knowledge will liberate us. But in the first place, why is it there?
That's what I am saying. You can't ask that question. In the first place, why 10 million calculations to register a site? Why not 20 million calculations? It's like that. It's like asking why 10 million? Why not 20 million? Why not 30 million? It's an endless question where we will never get the answer. That's why I told you in analysis, in this particular way, we have to work. We are not going backwards, because we have to go forward. No, Bhaskar is a motivational person. Yeah, he's a positive, energetic person. Because he doesn't like going backward. He likes going only every conversation. Sir, looking forward, going ahead. Yeah, Vedanta says going ahead. Look backward. Go inside. Go introvert. So we have to work from where we are, and we are working backwards. Now the question cannot be asked from there to here. You cannot ask this question. Why? Because we don't know what all factors gotten into it. If you really want to know what all factors gotten into it, wait till verse number 11. Tala Sutta Purdanga. When we go to verse number 11, he is going to talk about, there is this thing called Panchi Karna. Don't worry, I will not talk about that. More than 2 minutes, I will not talk about that Panchi Karna. That is going to come in verse number 11. How the whole thing happened. There is he is giving that formula. Verse number 11 varaikkum wait pannungo. Seriya?
Okay. Thank you.
Verse number 11 la varudhu. Panchi Karna nyabagam vechukongo. This concept called Panchi Karna. And the max ellam potu and the permutation combination la potu and the chart paakumbodhu thala sudha porudhu. Tell Bhaskar Ramamurthy to keep the chart ready, Venkat. And the Panchi Karna varumbodhu. Adu endha janmala varaporumo adu theriyadhu enakku. But let us just keep it ready. Is it okay, Bhaskar?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So, இது வந்து going ahead, looking forward லாம் கிடையாது இங்க வந்து உங்களோட vocabulary கொஞ்சம் மாத்திக்கணும் இங்கக்கு மட்டும். Looking ahead, going forward. பாஸ்கரோட எப்ப பேசினா எனக்கு பாஸ்கரே ஞாபகம் வராது. Going ahead, looking forward இதெல்லாம் தான். So, இங்க வந்து go backwards. சரியா? Sriram. A Buddhist quote made famous by அவர் பேர் எப்படி படிக்கிறதுனே தெரியல எனக்கு. Haruki Murakami. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Then our masters say you are eternal bliss or joy. So in this context, which is apprehension, non-apprehension, misapprehension, pain, suffering and bliss, all three fall under which category? The pain, the suffering fall under the category of misapprehension. The pain, the suffering and all fall under the category of misapprehension. I have a choice not to suffer is different from saying that the pain itself is not there. One is to say only pain. Dukkha Maya, sir. Life is Dukkha Maya only. Another thing is to say, I have a choice. The third thing is to say, it is only Ananda, it is only bliss. When we come to the stage of apprehension, it is only Ananda, the bliss. Choice implies still there are the two. What are the two? The pain is there, but I choose not to suffer. Like, I can have excruciating migraine, headache, and I can continue to talk making sense and not blabbering. I can have excruciating migraine. Yeah, sometimes it has happened in the classes where halfway through in some classes, I take the liberty of just getting up, walking out and come back. Yeah, migraine has become so bad, I just go out, throw out and come back. And I ensure that blabbering doesn't happen right through. It means what? You have a pain and you can choose not to identify with the pain. But still there is a factor that there is the pain that is being recognized. What the great masters say, what Vedanta teaches us is, the original nature is all blissful. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit, Ananda. So there are grades. One is to say Dukkha Maya. Another is to say there is pain, but I choose not to identify with it. Third thing is to say it is Ananda Maya. Dukkha Maya lend Ananda Maya. That is Satchit Ananda. Seriya?
So in this case, right, Ranjan uncle, so you in your case, right, in your example, so do you put up with the pain and yet you're able to function because you don't identify and you're not enmeshed with the pain, you're not caught up with your pain?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that pain doesn't exist for you.
Correct.
It does exist.
Yes.
But at the same time, you say that, but at the same time, the great masters say you're full of joy. So either one can only exist. Like, how can
Yes.
there be
Correct.
both?
Both cannot coexist. Reality and unreality cannot coexist. You are perfectly correct.
But you are truly experiencing pain, the excruciating pain of a migraine.
Now, that is why we say the instrument to go through the pain. The instrument to go through the pain, I need not identify with it.
Right. So
I can't say as long as the instrument is there, instrument will go through pain. You can't have a pain-free instrument. As long as the instrument is there, that instrument has its own modifications. The instrument has to necessarily go through a few experiences. Now, that is when I identify with the body, I would say I am experiencing it.
Right.
When I move away from the body, I say the body is having a headache. As long as the body is there, when you are functioning through the equipment, what happens is the equipment experiences the opposites. That is point number one. The instrument cannot escape experiencing the opposite. It is like supposing just because a person has achieved Jivan Mukti, liberation, body will be for eternity. No, body also will die. For that is the nature of the. So as long as the instrument is there, you cannot escape the modifications of the instrument. The instrument has to necessarily experience the opposites, and the instrument cannot escape that. As I said, somewhere in the middle, as I said, you have a choice to identify with what. That itself is a very giant leap in spiritual evolution. And then they say, and then they go deeper also, and say that which you see itself doesn't exist. That is something that takes a different analysis to understand that.
Yeah.
And the analysis
Correct. I feel this pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. That at least there's some experience for me to relate to that statement.
Correct.
But then when the masters say your eternal bliss, you're all the time your joy, that is something that is urmari unrelatable in one sense.
Because the moment they say I straight away equate it to the Sri Ram I. Straight away I equate it to the Sri Ram I, and I think that they are saying the Sri Ram I is eternally blissful. They say the Sri Ram I is not eternally blissful. The Sri Ram I is a mixture of both. The Sri Ram is a mixture of Sukha and Dukkha. Sri Ram is not only Sukha or only Dukkha. Sri Ram is a mixture of Sukha and Dukkha. So when they say I, they don't mean so whenever they say I immediately equate the I to be Arvindan. Like, take a simple example to satisfy you now. They say, you are all pervading. See, I am not even chair pervading. I am not even room pervading. where do I say, how do I understand that I am all pervading? It means something which is different from these instruments is what they call as all pervading. Something which is distinct and different from the instruments is what is called as all pervading, not the I. But then what happens is whenever we hear the word you, I, most of the time, because of long association with the ignorance, we assume that they are saying I equals Sri Ram, I equals Arvindan, I equals Venkatachalam. It is not like that. Venkatachalam is the body, mind, intellect. Sri Ram is the body, mind, intellect. Are you able to see the difference now? Now, Ide Atma Bodhala, verse number 30 to 36, we are going through a different analysis. Verse number 30 to 36, yo, aduna innum 10 years to go there. There we see that beautiful analysis when we go there, verses 30 to 36. But right now, to give you a lead in thinking, consider this state. You are all pervading. Now I look at myself. I am not even 6 feet pervading. I am 5 feet 6 inches pervading. I am not even 6 feet pervading, and I am not even chair pervading, room pervading. How can I be all pervading? Therefore, they are supposing if they mean I means Aravindan is all pervading, such a waste of time studying this Vedanta class, because they are absolutely blabbering and they don't know what they are saying. But then they are not meaning that. They are meaning something else. So we see it from that angle. Seriya? Is it okay, this one?
Sure.
Meera, sir, unreal is not imaginary. Okay. Meera, is she there, Meera? Meera irkala?
Yes, sir.
Illa திடீர்னு என்னது uploading or downloading என்னமோ பண்ணுவேல. What are you doing?
Implementation.
Implementation சார்னா அப்புறம் இல்ல யாருக்கு நான் பேசின்னு இருக்கேன். அதனால implementation போயிட்டால இங்க இருக்கலாம்ங்கிறதுக்கு கேட்டேன். Okay. So you are here now. Sir, unreal is not imaginary. All this while when we were saying unreal along with temporary and changing, unconsciously I was trying to add the tag imaginary. So in English linguistic relationship, possessions are existing but is temporary. So real opposite is unreal. So the real opposite. அங்கங்க full stop வச்சதுனால எனக்கு அது எப்படி படிக்கிறதுனே தெரியல. So real, okay, Meera, you say what you are saying. I really don't know. Your punctuation mark and all is really confusing me. What is your question, Meera? Meera, கொஞ்சம் unmute பண்ணி விடுங்க. Venkata, see, Venkat is taking revenge on you.
Yes, sir. Sir,
ஏன்னா நேத்துக்கு நைட் அவர் போட்டு அந்த ஓட்டுனே இல்லையோ, he is revenge, taking revenge on you. You all think I don't know what's happening. சொல்லுங்க. Yes.
okay, sir. Sir, all this while when we were talking about negation and assertion, whenever we were trying to understand, like you would knock on the table and say, see, it is real, or whenever I was trying to somehow say, okay, the table does not exist itself. It's something to do with imagination. So while we were able to understand this temporary and changing, forcefully, that imagination part was never getting away from the head. So it was very difficult to comprehend that there is a possibility to negate relationship, possessions and all. But iniki, I heard that it is not imaginary. That means adu irukku, but because it's temporary, why do you want to pay attention to something that will change? Because how much ever attention you are going to pay to something, it is going to change, and then you have to again change all your attachment to it. Again, you have to change your perception to it. So it will be a constant cycle of just grief and experience, which will end up in.
Correct.
இதுக்கு பதிலா just focus on something that is not changing.
Yes.
And that will always be with you. If I have to
Right.
even look at it from me and something else. So, and the imaginary, it's not that I'm hallucinating. There is my sir, there is my giant, there is Coco. It's not that it's not there. It's just that.
Coco, leave that Coco aside first. Coco is her dog, huh? Ah, yes.
So, all these are not imaginary. I'm not imagining any of my relationships, Ilya. So
It is not imaginary. We are not saying it is imaginary. It is temporary. There is a big difference between imaginary and temporary. When we say it is temporary, the most logical question is, when we say it is temporary, how long it will remain temporary? The longevity part of it. Number one is to say it is temporary. Number two is to explain what is the time factor involved in it. What is the time factor involved in it? As long as
I am there,
as long as you have ignorance. As long as you are ignorant, it would be there. So the longevity is dependent upon
my ignorance.
yes, how long you choose to remain in ignorance. Howsoever long you choose to remain in ignorance, to that extent it would remain. That is why most of the people always misunderstand this temporary is imaginary. It is never said it is imaginary. It is temporary. Temporary means, then what is the time factor? As long as the ignorance remains.
My ignorance.
Yeah. Seriya?
Yes, sir.
Right. Mohan, kindly correlate snake and rope with temporary, imaginary. Yes. Kindly correlate snake and rope with temporary, imaginary. Snake, temporary and imaginary. That which gives this clarity is buddhi. Which Atman in this context? Mohan. Where is Mohan? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Which is Atman in this context? I don't know what is the question that he is.
My question is
Mohan.
that,
Yes, chalunga, Mohan.
my question is that how do we correlate Atman with this example? So that, because it is very
Yes.
easy to understand,
Yes.
rope and snake, imaginary and temporary.
Correct.
And so how do I correlate with
Atman.
Atman so that we can grasp faster? That was
Yes.
my question.
Rope equals Atman.
Rope equals Atman.
Rope equals Atman in this example.
Yeah.
Wherever you see rope, you don't say that is Atman. In this comparison, rope
Okay.
equals Atman, snake
Okay.
equals the world.
Rope equals Atman. Okay.
Rope equals Atman, snake equals the world. And whenever we say world, it means you also.
Okay.
So snake is world. World means you, subject and object.
Okay.
That is the world. Atman is equated to the snake.
Rope.
That is the comparison.
Okay. Okay.
That
Got
is the
it.
comparison.
Okay.
Don't worry. This analysis, there are about in the one of the verses is going to give the rope and snake example itself. When we go into the rope and snake example itself, there are about 9 points to explain in that. I'll explain all that when we go there.
Sure, sir.
But right now, what is Atman in this context? Rope equals Atman.
Atman. Snake is imaginary and the world.
Yes, snake is imaginary world.
Yeah.
Don't say imaginary world. Don't say
Temporary. It is
temporary.
temporary.
Because we
After
just
this class,
slip
we
in
have
a
to say
word.
it is temporary.
We just slip in a word and the whole thing gets utterly confused.
Exactly,
Yeah.
sir.
That's why we used
Exactly.
to, that's why we have to use the right word. The right word is temporary.
Temporary. Yeah. Actually, all along there is a confusion on imaginary and temporary. Actually, when we talk about Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, all these things,
Yes,
we were
correct.
getting,
Yes.
though they
Everybody,
looks like a synonymous, but actually it is not.
it is not synonymous. It is entirely different. That is why in the example of
Our
Sat and
understanding, I
Asat
will
and
put it this
Nitya,
way.
I say imaginary means Superman. Superman is imaginary. For Superman never, Superman doesn't have a temporary reality also. For he is imaginary. Now the world is not imaginary like that. It is dependent reality.
Yes.
It is real but dependent. A dependent reality.
Correct, sir.
You, as a human being, you have a choice to directly identify with the real and recognize you are that, not this Mohan entity.
Okay.
So first step in the clarity vandirthanale, that's what I said. In the clarity, what is the clarity? The distinction between temporary and imaginary.
That confusion got clarified today, sir.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody talks about all pervading, all these things, but we all say we get into that imaginary. Now this clarity gives a lot of
yes,
visibility.
அப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க.
Thank
சரியா?
you. Thank you, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mohan. Now, Vijay, what is Sat? What is Chit with reference to Sachidananda? This, what is Sat and Chit with reference to Sachidananda? I will take it up in some other context, Vijay. Not no, because in the Sat Chitan, or Vartha explain Mananale, minimum it will take 10 minutes. So I am not getting into that. Sat means existence. Chit means awareness, consciousness. Ananda means bliss. This is as far as Satchitananda is concerned. Lakshmi Ramu. There is an emergency at work. Need to leave. Yes, very good. Vijaynath. Acharya. Is the third element boy seeing his mind? Now what he is asking is, rope and snake la or boy paakrane, Brahman la yaar appadi paakranga? You are that boy. You are that boy. There is no third boy seeing it. You are that. You are that. That's ignorance. You are that boy. From Alpana. Is the correct instrument the Sukshma Buddhi? What is the role of the gross intellect? This is question. From Alpana. Is the correct instrument the Sukshma Buddhi? Sukshma Buddhi means subtle intellect. What is the role of gross intellect in this process, if any? In this context, we are not distinguishing it between subtle intellect and gross intellect. If at all you need to combine both, it is the play of both the intellect. For both gross intellect and subtle intellect functions together. The gross intellect takes the cue from the subtle intellect and pursues that. The subtle intellect that says, see the one, understand the two. That's all subtle intellect is. What is that two? And pursuing that analysis and all is done by the gross intellect. So it is the play of both the intellect. That is why we say, that is why I didn't distinguish it as subtle and gross. I just called it as intellect. Alpana. This is the answer. The subtle intellect says there is two. Gross intellect picks it up and it does all the work of analyzing, asserting, negating. All the work is done by the gross intellect only. So for all practical purposes, we say intellect. Gross intellect as well as It's the combined work of gross intellect and subtle intellect. Sriram, there is a second question. Go. Where is the second? Then what is the second question, Sriram? So much is scrolling up and down. I got it. The other question is with the waking and dreaming example, which we have heard a lot is this. Now we say, when we get up, we say the dream is unreal and doesn't exist. But in many Puranic stories and in stories of many devotees and sometimes in our lives, these dreams manifest into reality and oftentimes they don't. So the dream and waking state sometimes corroborate. Sometimes they are connected. Then what do we say to these sort of situations? The waker and dreamer have a common and complementary experiences, and these instances make me believe, therefore, that the dream is not always unreal for the waker. Now, Sriram, what is happening is the same vasanas that causes the waking state and the dream state. Because of the similarity of the vasanas, some overlapping, some correlation will happen, which is correct. Some overlapping happens, some correlation happens. That is because of the similar nature of the vasanas that is manifesting as waking and dream. Similar vasanas. Because of the similarity, some vasanas overlap. That is why, as a waker, you will remember only that which has a correlation. All the dreams we will not remember. Why we will not remember so many of the dreams is because wherever the similarity is not there, you cannot remember as the waker. As a waker, you can only remember the similarity. What is the similarity? The overlapping vasanas. What is the overlapping vasanas? Janaka was a king. He assumed that he is a king forever, permanent. And suddenly when the vasana of the kingship gotten shaken as a beggar, he had this doubt. Am I the dreamer or am I the king who's dreamt to be the beggar, or am I the beggar dreaming to be the king? So the similarity is, you are right. Your observation is perfectly right. They corroborate a lot. In fact, most of the times in the dream, you have experiences in relation to the waking state only. The same people that you see in the waking state is what you see in the dream also. Yeah. Adhe amma dhan dream lo kuda, isn't it? But even there, the same mother keeps. So there is a similarity. That is because of the similarity of the vasanas. That is a different angle. The angle from which we discussed today, or when we say the dream is unreal, is having woken up, that world doesn't exist anywhere separately. I made $1 million in the dream. When I wake up, I still have EMIs to pay. That $1 million, I cannot repay I can't take that $1 million and repay the loan here. Why? Because that is completely dissolved.
Bereft.
That is completely perished. So we are taking only that particular angle of comparison. Not the entire, we are not comparing the entire dream and waking state phenomena. Okay. Elsewhere in the same Atma Bodha, 2-3 verses continuously he is going to talk about this waking dream, waking dream, waking dream. When he continuously talking about the waking dream, in there we will see what are the areas of comparison and what we should not compare. And the context, I will explain the waking and dream. And while explaining the waking and dream, I will also tell you what we should compare and what we should not compare. This boy is like a tiger. Now we should know what to compare, what not to compare. This boy is like a tiger. Now we know what we should compare and what we should not compare. So in the dream, when we go into that verses, I don't remember the verse numbers now. When we go to those verses, I will tell you what we compare and what we should compare and what we should not compare. Seriya?
Okay.
Yeah?
Fine.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We continue next class with verse number 7 onwards. Hari Om.